Hello, iDocs. In today's episode, I am going to walk you through episodes 4 through 6 of Perfect Crown. I know, Perfect Crown. If you heard my watch along episode 3 of Perfect Crown, it is probably surprising you more than me that I find myself on this street. But on this street, I am. So now let's jump in. Perfect Crown has an 8.5 score on our favorite site in the world for all things A drama related specs. And I understand why it has an 8.5. However, I don't know that I can give it an 8.5 yet. Where am I lying? Because I do know. I can't give it an 8.5 yet. Because for me, within episodes 4 through 6, it took off for me just now. Like it wasn't until I got about to episode 5-ish that I was like, oh, okay. Now, see, had they kicked it off like this, I would have been down. And unfortunately, we don't have the type of patience that we used to have. Or did I ever have it, baby? I don't know if my patience ever has been long enough to give you 3 episodes to finally figure this out. Have they figured it out for me? I don't know. We'll walk through that today, though, as I just kind of give you the 411 on what I watched between episodes 4 through 6. So, Yui, as I call her jokingly, guys, I don't know why when I look at her, the English rendering of the name. In Hanguk, it would be EU. I don't see her as EU. I see her as UE. And for one reason or another, when my eyes land on those 2 letters, they want it to be UE. So guess what it is? Baby, it's UE. So in episodes 4 through 6, there wasn't as much insolence. Why? Because they introduced us some damn tension. They gave us some tension. And I was thinking about something before I started this episode, and that is this. And, call me novel, call me whatever you like, but this is what I want out of not only this drama, but any drama that has the romance tag. I feel like when you're a romance head like I am, at least in a drama world, in a drama entertainment, I primarily want to see a romance. Ever so often, other genres slip in there. But for the most part, I want romance and pretty much only romance. Nevertheless, romance I find is one of the only genres, and maybe it's just because I'm not immersed in the world of the other ones. I'll hold out space for that. But this is one of the only genres where I feel this unspoken dissonance about what I should be expecting out of a drama. You will have people debate you up and down about how good a drama is if you disagree, or how good a drama isn't if you think it is. That is healthy discourse. I'm cool with that. You gotta be different in order to appreciate things. But why is romance the only genre where I think there's so much vehemence for those people who go in the comment section and say shit like, this ain't doing it for me? Why do people castigate we romancers who are justifiably irritated when there is no romance to be found in the drama? When I anticipated Perfect Crown, you know the teasers they give us. They give us not the photography, but they give us the temptation first. It's, ooh, Yui and Byung, oh God, they're going to be in a drama together. And it's, yay, I couldn't wait until, some of my favorites paired up. And look, it's these 2. Great, yes. Can't wait to see it. Because, oh my God, have you seen him? Yeah, his lips are so full that to put him in a drama and not give us that feels like we should be protesting or something. I'm not saying we should protest, but you know what I'm saying. when I watch a drama that has romance in the text, let me just confirm it. Because sometimes you just have to do your research. I don't do a whole lot of research, as in getting the synopsis prior to. I don't feel like I need to do that because of reasons that it only takes you about 5 minutes to listen to my podcast to figure that out. Okay. So, yes, romance is in this damn tag. It's all about lovers, 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 marriage, convenience, contract, all relationship, all of that. So, okay, I did a little bit of just very janky research and I see that the tags on here are romance. Some form of romance. When you all tease a male lead that looks like this and then an actress as strong as you, and I do understand that our male counterparts, they're watching this for her. And that's great because she has always given us the fashion. She keeps herself up. She presents perfect. So we got her, she's presenting. He is definitely presenting. And then he's presenting, even in the world of a drama land, he's presenting something atypical. What is that, you ask? Because, like, we know that height difference is what makes dramas swoon worthy for us girls. And guys, y'all in this shit too. The height difference really helps us to fall in love that much harder because it's biological or some shit. But Byung he is tall by international standards. Like, he's taller than the average tall guys in pretty much every country. So it's not often that we get a guy that's just like, baby, when I tell you, he's just like a tower, ain't he? Then you add to that, I mean, he's tall, and tallness has its own aesthetic as far as, the payout of the limb ratio, etc. I'm not trying to objectify him, just go with me, guys. But he ain't running around here looking like I gotta walk to Hangu and just have lunch with him, baby. Do you want some lunch? He don't look like that, do he? And then his face. His face has dimension and cut to the cheeks and the lips full and the hair's doing all the right things and the eyes. And then he's got this deep commanding voice that even though at times he has run cold, baby, you can be a little cold with me. I'm going to go ahead and accept your cold a little bit looking like that. Okay. So when you present to us a female and a male lead, there's just so much dissonance that happens because the drama that you end up getting is this anti-sexual fantasy of proportions that most adults struggle with. Because I know I'm not alone in saying that at least in episodes 1 through 3, I wanted more. And when a person says that they want more, they may be better than me. Like, I'm willing for your morality to be better than me. The morality sisters, you're not going to beat their morality, which is why I love them so much, because they remind us that there is some right and wrong in this world. But anyway, if you look at them in episodes 1 to 3 and you say, I want more, maybe you want a more in-depth story. I do too. Me too. Maybe you look at them and you say, I want the writer to, jump on that nuance and then that nuance, and I need some history. And now you're starting to lose me, baby, because I don't give a shit about I don't care about none of that. I don't care. Why? Because this is a fantasy. I know people don't like that, but if you want a docuseries, will you please go and wear your Netflix subscription out on them documentaries? Because they're there. They waiting. No. When I get a drama that where the director decides that on the eve of it dropping, oh, these two could be royalty. It's like, okay, is this another way of saying people look good? Because if that's the case, baby, I could be royalty too. You know what I'm saying? You could be royalty, you fine too. It's like, okay, I don't know. I don't know how that particular editorial, we're calling it this, made it to any website. Why? Because the editorial and the I want more that I'm after when I watch a drama promising two leads like this. I want them to be sexually attracted to each other and move on each other, sexually motivated. This does not mean that it has to be anything raunchy, although I'm not against that. But I want him to want her the way that he would want a woman, any woman. I want him to be attracted to her, but it not be this whole for your own good, for the greater good. Let me pet you on the head like a puppy. No. I want her to look at him and be like, oh my Lord, look at this. And then I get to be in the innermost sanctum or some shit of his company. And this is how this goes. Because in episodes 1 through 3, they're alchemy, which is my word for chemistry. Ever since Alchemy of the Souls came out, for me, alchemy is a little bit more stringent for me. So their alchemy in episodes 1 through 3 was just one of just, fond beguiling. But I need hot. I need sizzle. Because the element that every writer, director, producer misses for contemporary dramas. It doesn't matter whether it's Hanguk all the way over there to Manila, where you have to go hide when your ass get some scandal. When you get some dirt on your name, you got to go hide in Manila. But regardless of which locale it is, let me tell y'all the element that's missing. It's the sex appeal. That's it. And I know why people are just like scared of it, because of the cancer culture that exists, that pervades, But when a prostitute goes to work, she don't get accused of sexual mishandling men. That's her job. What am I saying? I'm saying, baby, you at work. And if your work is to deliver a romance, deliver the damn romance. Because like back in the golden era, I feel like people were a little bit more understanding that there's method to this acting. And we know that there are elements that work behind the scenes that makes those kiss scenes not quite as hot as they are looking like they are. But nevertheless, they are still extremely satisfying to watch, because at the end of the day, you have a job to do, and that's to convey a visual. And when you're not conveying the visual, you're losing us. So now we move into episodes 4 through 6. And the reason why episodes 4 through 6 work for me is because the denial of the attraction is starting to wane. I don't know if I'm at a point to say that the writing is anything to write home about, pun intended. But I can say that some actions that Prince Eon has taken against Yui have started to just, you're trying to wake somebody up in the morning and they dead sleep. So I'm not woke yet, but I'm being roused, let's say. I'm being pushed consistently, steadily by the shoulder, like, okay, wake up, come on. There's something to see here now. So what has happened? So Yui has created the kind of scandal that has put a target on her back. And if the writing was a little bit more intentional, we actually would think anybody other than Mama was trying to kill her. Okay? Because she's evil. And here's your spoiler alert, all after the fact. But nevertheless, this is your spoiler alert. She goes out to Baby King. He either solicits a ride from her or just jumps in the car, one of the two. But she goes and takes her sports car out for a drive one night. Baby King is in there with her. And she's driving. He's having a grand time until she realizes that the brakes have been cut on her car. So now she is just, grand theft autoing through soda. And we're like, oh my God. I ain't gonna lie. Ain't nobody gonna die, but for one reason or another, they were able to give you a little bit of exhilaration in that moment because she was racing like a bat out of hell. She was getting away from head-on collisions by the skin of her teeth until she gets to a bridge where there are guardrails, and she's able to finally have an opportunity to try to use some damn something to slow this car down. The car's got to make contact with something in order to slow down. So she's riding this guardrail, it's sparking, etc. And there's only so long she can continue to do this without those doors being melted off, and now she is being melted, so she's on borrowed time with this, but it is working. The car is being slowed down, but she's still going too fast. Prince Ian, he catches wind, he goes in, he races through town, and he, does the thorough thizzle and does a bit of a pit maneuver, as it were, on himself. He turns the car parallel to her, and she is able to plow into him and successfully close the car, close the acceleration, stop it. And Prince Ian goes to the hospital because now he's got some manner of injury. She goes to the hospital because she's pretty banged up. And of course, the little king, we've got to make sure he's okay. And we do make sure he's okay. And Yui is okay. And Prince Ian, he shatters his shoulder because he had to take quite a hit for a car to plow into him at this point. Perhaps it was going at an average mile an hour, 60 or so. But that's still, you can't, most people die on the highway when they're hit at those types of speeds. So he's in the hospital and he's convalescing, if we can call it that. And Yui is devastated, terrified, and very concerned. These scenes of her and him are more effective than anything they did in episodes 1 through 3. Following this incident and Ian and everybody being discharged from the hospital, he decides that she's got to go. This I love. This has the aroma of the classic era because he puts her out unceremoniously. She's got to go. And nobody understands why, especially Yui. And it's very effective for me because if you don't give us just outright passion, the dramas that survive, the dramas that are actually good in the romance realm in current day, because these producers are terrified to give us romance, straight out and out, just romance. But they know that there's a hack for romance, and what's the hack is tension. It don't have to be sexual tension, but it does tap into that. Why? Because he sent her home, and she could not understand that. She was devastated. I'm talking about don't want to answer no phone calls, really ain't doing nothing at work, zoning out. His assistant comes, she ain't paying him no attention. The exhilaration of giving somebody the silent treatment, but you can't give it to him because the prince isn't there. It's just his assistant, but she's doing it. And you know what? The viewer is being pulled in just a little bit more, because we don't understand why he made her leave either right away until he confesses to her that it's for her own good to keep her safe. Now, let me tell y'all why on Perfect Crown, y'all should have teased that out much more. Because the tension feels good. Y'all resolved it too fast. Like, let me see. He put her out in episode maybe 5. By the end of episode 5, he told her why. we're not supposed to know why he put her out yet. That was an opportunity. I'm no perfect writer, but I will say this. You got to hold that tension a little bit longer. If you're not giving straight out and out romance, there's no real substitute for romance, but tension is running a real close second. So he confesses this to her, and it kind of, it satisfies her to a certain degree because it enables her to replace her ego on the same shelf it was on before. So it's like, yeah, I'm still the shit and you ain't shit for putting me out. But since you gave me a reason, I guess I can go with that. And then we have Mama. Now, she has decided that she wanted to commission a young lady to betroth Prince Ian. That scene was about 2 or 3 minutes. And I wish they would have gone further, but we're only at episode 6 thus far. Perhaps this young lady will come back. But what I will say in those few minutes that she attempted to hook Ian up with some chick, it worked. What did it do? It pulled me in a little bit more. Why? We need the tension of another bitch wanting Ian. Yeah. And let me tell you who I really want to want Ian. Mama. Yeah. I want her to want him. Because y'all, that's the only thing that can explain to me why this lady is trapped back in fucking the 8th dynasty of the Sheila Empire and shit. I know those numbers are wrong. I'm just saying. She is literally like, okay, so y'all remember the Silver Fox? The guy that I was like, baby, he a OG. Okay? And he is working that silver hair. I love it. Okay, and you know how he's like the guy that's gonna come in there and, he look like he gonna have a damn heart attack every time he talks. He's so fucking good at his job. He just look like he gonna please don't, just take all your vitamins and stuff. I'm just saying, he's so good at this that every time he talks, it looks like he needs to go immediately and take a blood pressure pill or something. That guy, he is the only person who is for some reason, he is so earnest in all of the things he says. He does not give me Beck J, He's not giving me Corel and shit. He's giving me, look, this is gonna happen. We gonna make this happen and all this. I'm a scheme. I'm a plot and all that. But Mama, it's just something about her I don't like. I don't know. It's just something about her. It's like she's in the wrong drama. And I do get it. I get it, guys. We know this is the monarchy, scare quotes. In present day, I get it. I do know that. It's just that she is so out of, like, her demeanor is like, it is incongruent. She's so good at what she's doing, though. She has definitely separated herself as the villain of the whole situation. It has been, I'll try to keep going, but she's doing an excellent job. It's just that when you have her and Yui in the same scene, it just feels like, I don't know. They just didn't execute the modern day with the monarchy still being a thing. They just did not execute that for me. But again, episodes 4 through 6, I'm enjoying more. So when she was trying to hook up Prince Ian with that girl, I was like, oh yeah, this is some tension. Like, I wanted you know why? Because it's like right now, I mean, he confessed to her that he was trying to protect her. So it's like, in her ego or whatever, she's like, oh, he still like me, But I wanted there to be a few episodes of him not liking her or her thinking that. And then you got another chick moving in on it. Like, for me, there's no real threat of Yui not ending up with him. It's always going to be just a matter of them kind of sweeping away the misunderstanding and keeping it popping. And I know a lot of people hate the misunderstanding, but I'm starting to think the misunderstanding is the reason why these stories are good, for real. But so that's a little short-lived. That goes nowhere because Eon's not checking for nobody, and that's good. But I almost feel like, Mama, will you please confess some feelings for him or something? Please. So Yui is invited to the palace because what they're going to do is just some ceremoniously dump her, because we have to keep the image of the crown and all this. And I'm just like, this was just a very unfortunate way to kind of write this story, because even inside of the drama, if I just take off Idoxanong and I just watch the drama and pretend like everything on this is above board for me. And when I say above board, it's not horrible at this point, but it's just like, I don't even think the figurative people in this Hanguk society care about what the royals are doing. Like, I just don't. I don't have that impression whatsoever, like, at all. So when it's like Yui's being invited to the palace so that they can, show some goodwill toward her, it's like, okay, we not together anymore, but we still cool. And it's like, okay, who cares about, like, no, I don't see the public caring that much. Seems like it's just the reporters and stuff. And like, the reporters aren't the public. The reporters are at work. So anyway, she is invited to this, and, it has to be revealed that, I did this for your own good. This gives her the ability to go ahead and do it. But look, let me tell you a scene that was touching. And I don't know if y'all are proud of me for this, as proud as I am of myself, but I did not 2 times a second between 4 and 6. Okay. He calls her, and let me tell you what was good about this scene, or this scene. So Eon called her, right? And she's looking at the phone, and it's him. And she's like, looking at it like, you can see the perplexity. You can see her warring with answering this phone or not answering this phone, because we've all been there. Somebody calls you and you're mad at them. You need them to know you're mad at them, but at the same time, your silence isn't going to do it in the void. You need to be silent with them on the phone with you so they can feel the silence. I know it's weird, but that's the way relationships go. So she decides, fuck it, I'm going to answer it, because the other part of that is, I miss him. I really like him. And I want to talk to him. And I just want to hear what the fuck he got to say. At a certain point, you got to answer, because you just want to hear what is going to possibly come out your mouth. And because I like it, because I like you, basically whatever you say is going to win. So she answers. But she don't answer and be like, hello, what's popping and all that. She answers and she's like, hello. And I love it, because when you have a podcast or a YouTube channel, there's this unspoken rule that silence or dead air is a no-no. Baby, if that was the case, I wouldn't have a podcast or anything else, because I think silence is probably the most effective communicative tool you can use. But let's move on. She is silent, but it's not that silent of, I'm nervous. I kind of like, I'm grasping for something to say. It's, I'm silent because my feelings hurt. So there's the silence. And Eon is like, hello? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, thank you for boom, bam, bop. Because remember, they've had the accident and all these different things. And I think by now, this is going toward him explaining himself about the actions he's been taking. And then he says something. And then she says something. And then he's silent. That pregnable silence in that phone conversation was really, really good, guys. That was good. I enjoyed that. And it gave me a glimmer of Yui again. The real UE, the one that played in all the other dramas except this one. Okay. So she's being given these etiquette crash courses at this point, because it's like you about to go to an event. You've been to one before, but you've not really been to like this kind of event, because this is one of the ones where mama is going to personally take y'all around and just kind of play a big ass game of follow the leader. You know, she going to lead a flock of people and she going to talk about shit that makes no sense in present day. She's going to talk like she is back in Korea. Okay, Gory. She gonna act like she back there. Y'all gonna be walking around like, what the fuck? And you're going to have to be in the back, because when it comes to us peasants, we may not outrun the royalty. Like if you're walking next to somebody that is affiliated with the palace, you have to intentionally, take low, walk behind them. So Yui all the way in the back. She has to understand this. And when she talks to Prince Yan, it's like, okay, so what the fuck you saying? So her and him, they go out, and I like this scene too, because when she meets up with him, so they can kind of rendezvous a little bit. Just it's not like a date, but he's like, come on out, and she's like, okay. He's got his little mask on, and she just got like some sweats and a hoodie on. I like that too. Because we used to seeing Yui struggle, baby, in these dramas. Okay, now she did do her thing in Hotel de Luna, but I'm just saying, Yui can act her ass off. And I just don't understand her actions in the first 3 episodes by the writers, because I know a lot of this isn't her fault. Okay, so she meet up and she like, what's up? And he's like, nothing. And they talking and they talking. And at a certain point, they're walking alongside each other, but she purposely starts taking huge steps backward. Like she takes 3 steps back and he only has to take like 1 to catch up to her. That's how he is, y'all. And he's like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm trying to practice walking behind you, because that's what I was told, that I'm going to have to be behind you. So, through all the fault of her own, she falls. And, they're like by a pier or something, and she ends up falling somewhere where it's safe to fall, and they kiss. Thank you. Look, my toes wasn't curling, but she must have sat down with Lee Jong-suk and said, look, that first kiss is going to be a faker, but we got to kiss. And Lee Jong-suk was like, okay, I'll be here. I will be home when you get home after this, because they did give us a unconcealed kiss. And look, I don't care if you do a 50s kiss with him, and even if his hand isn't concealing y'all lips, if it's just a dead-eye fish kiss, his lips are so good that kiss still gonna look like it landed, So they had a little talk. She had a talk with her boyfriend or whatever, and they kissed, and I was like, I'm just trying to figure out, why do they write that out of every fucking romance script, a good kiss? Why do they do that? You have heard me say it once, and I'm going to say it again. I want the romance to be so good that it fucks up your real life situation. Because, baby, that's how you'll know who's for you and who ain't, baby. How we both actors, and you can't understand me going to do my job. Sounds like, a natural process of elimination for me. But anyway, they do a better kiss than I expected them to do at that point. That's all I can say about the kiss, y'all. Because, like, the way he looks, and it's like, if the crazy thing is, he's got such a good ratio. He's got such a good nose, lip, chin, Adam's apple ratio, that if he don't even have to, like, I don't think we could take it if he kissed somebody for real. Like, the golden era kisses. I don't think we could even take it. We don't get real romance anymore. So he would only have to turn it up to like 50%. And we would be good for nothing. Nothing. Moving past the kiss. That was, it was what it was. He just, Okay. So we get to the ball, and that's what it is. It's like a modern day ball. It's so weird. Let me tell you what's even weirder. Now, this gonna sound strange, but even though Mama is back in Korea or what have you, with everything she says, her dialogue, all that, she wears a 2026 dress. And I'm like, what in the fuck? When do the palace people start showing shoulder, y'all? I'm just knowing she gonna show up in a damn, you know, with the long ass hairpin, with the spinny things on her hair. I'm sorry, y'all. If I actually have studied this stuff and should know better. But I'm just saying, I could have sworn she was gonna show up like that. She did not show up like that. She was showing all the arm, all the shoulder, all the décolletage and shit. I'm like, wow. And then we had the prime minister. This is another good one. This is a tragic second male lead syndrome. I don't really have second male lead syndrome. Um, I have real male lead syndrome. What do I mean by that? I mean like Steve No. And I'm sorry because your name is actually Steve. Yes, you are gorgeous. Okay? You gorgeous. Now cover your ears. Please don't listen to this part. You can't do shit with Janusok. It's not even fair for them to try to like. You're not inferior to him. Y'all just giving off different vibes. It's like coffee and tea. Neither is better than the other. It's just all about your personal preference. And Steven, yes, what you got going for yourself? Because, like, everybody can't be 6'3", like, you know? What you got going for yourself, Steven? Steven, you look like you understand everything I'm saying on this fucking podcast. Like, do you know how far that goes? Like, you can mac on me in real time. We ain't gotta, like, have no app standing between us when we talk. Like that. So, Steven, yes, is in love with Yui. Y'all get it? But it's like a tragic, ever abiding love. Because, like, back in high school, you know, he rescued her out of a damn elevator that she was stuck in. And then she took his hand and they like raced so she could go take this test or something. And in that moment of them running down the hallway, he discovered that she is the absolute apple of his eye. And he's that guy that's got so much integrity. Like, he's the prime minister. And I love his personal, I just love his tragic story because he's the epitome of the tortured genius. Because he's the prime minister. But when Yui kind of turns him down and shit, it's like she basically tells him, look, we can all be fucked up out here, but you can't. Like, you're doing something that's actually important. And I need you to go and have another term. So don't worry about what the fuck I'm doing. Like, don't be trying to start liking me and shit because I'm going to fuck up your legacy and I don't want to fuck up your legacy. Have you not met me yet? I am trying to get on the top of the Google search engine and shit. Like, that's what I want to do. But you can't afford to be at the top of a damn search engine. Like, you can't. It's not time for you to campaign again yet. So, no, I'm not going to let you fuck up your future. I like that he makes decisions that absolutely kill him. I think that we all like to think that we're noble enough to say shit like, oh, if that person really loves you, let them go. Spread their wings like a butterfly and they'll make their way back if it's meant to be. He actually means that shit. Okay? He is willing to forfeit all of his internal. It's like he is willing to acquiesce all of his personal desires and dreams and passions of life, if it means holding on to the integrity of the position that he holds. So that means that the only person he's probably ever loved, this Yui, he has got to watch her not only reject him, but he's got to watch her do it with a better man. Because even if your self-esteem isn't so low as to say, ooh, he's a better man than me. Prince Yan is a better man than Stephen No, as in the drama. Because Stephen No and Prince Yan look like mortal enemies, and they kind of are a little bit, but they respect each other enough to be able to see that they both in love with the same chick. And the Prime Minister, aka Steve Yes, he's astute enough to be able to know that he's been bested. That don't stop him from taking every chance he can to be with Yui. So they're at the ball dancing, and they're doing this choreography, this waltz that if you do a little twirl and a spin, okay, one second you will be in Prince's arms, and then I'm going to do a spin, and then I'll be in the Prime Minister's arm. So they're doing that back and forth. And he's like, look, I'm going to be your friend to the end, but don't lie to me ever again. Understand that? And she's like, okay. And I'm asking myself, baby, who you think you are? In a good way. You know, like usually when I'm saying who the fuck you think you are, I said that shit with all the attitude, right? Not with him. I said, baby, I literally said this to myself while I watched this. I said, baby, who the fuck you think you is? Not are, baby. I got to break some English on your ass. Who the fuck you think you are that you get to be my lover, baby? Anyway. Ew. Because that's what lovers say. Don't ever lie to me again. And she was spellbound. She looked at him like, yes, sir. Okay. Somehow, some way, even though he knows he's not going to end up with her, he was able to say, look, I'm going to break up with you if you ever don't tell me exactly what I want to know at any given time. I'm like, baby, yes. So Steve, no, I don't know. Shit, you might be the better choice. Second male lead syndromes always are, because they love you to death. But, baby, you got game that people ain't ready for. Because in that phrase, it was like, you're mine. And you're going to tell me the truth. Or else I'm going to threaten you with a punishment I haven't even told you what it is. I'm like, damn. Now, I thought I was a G. Steve, yes, a G. So they twirl and twirl and twirl, and she gets back in the prince's arms. By this point, these two have an understanding a bit, because prior to the official ball part of this happening, they walked in together. A no-no. She was supposed to be all the way at the back of the procession. Not only that, but earlier in the day, before it was time to switch outfits, she walked in with a white pantsuit, which I'm like, y'all hear my hand clap? Thank you, Yui. That is what you wear them country ass white boots with. You do not wear them fucking white booties with a red. You don't do that. So I hope she had the white booties on. I ain't checked, but girl, the white on white, yes, you do that like that. She wasn't supposed to do that, but she had told him something that's also pulling me in. And if you're still here now, you a G. Thank you so much. And I'm glad that you like Adak Sadang to continue listening. By now, she has tapped into his vulnerability. Prince Yan lacks confidence. But not because he a little bitch. Not because of that. It's because he grew up with a tyrant for a father. And his father beat him mercilessly for stupid shit. You know, like trying on the robe of his little brother. He got his ass beat. And his father lacked humanity. So Prince Yan, he don't have no EQ. You know how some people shit so low, you like, are you even human? Yan don't have none. All he has is rituals, rites, procedures, ceremonies, and shit. He don't have none of that. Now, I don't know how he figured out he liked Yui, but, you know, he's here nevertheless. But Yui has now started to kind of invoke some of what makes her who she has become in this life. Remember, Yui's got a shitty dad too. And she's always being demeaned and just destroyed by him. He's always haunting her. But her defiance is something that has now become weaponry for Eon. And in one course of phrases or another, Yui has told him, look, you go in there and you be you. And you do what you want to do. And you don't worry about everybody else. That everybody else will take care of themselves. You let them take care of themselves. Since everybody wants to think they a G, let them G's take care of themselves. You come in this motherfucking place and do what you want to do. Because I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to wear these pants right here. And I'm going to walk in the front. So he was like, bet, we going to walk in together. And they walked in together. And they were the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. They doing the twirly twirl. Steve, yes. Then, you know what I'm saying? He kicked that cold game to Yui. Yui is probably head spinning like, damn, I love him now too. And the prince, he proposes to her with the most beautiful wedding ring. Oh my gosh, girls and guys, do you guys love that ring as much as I do? The shape of it, yes, it's a sapphire. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful ring. That seems like it just would match any hand. It's a gorgeous ring. I absolutely love it. And he offers it to her, and it was actually his mother's ring, and she's taken aback because he was supposed to use this ceremony to ceremoniously dump her, but he proposed to her. Now, had I been writing this, I would have delayed all of this whole thing. I would have delayed. Steve, yes, still could have macked on me or whatever at this point, but I would have delayed the whole, this is why you're gone from the palace. And I would have delayed the proposal. Why? Because these two like each other. And I'm going to tell you what, I don't really, not between episodes 1 and 3, I didn't see Yui liking him. I see it now. And I feel like with just a few more, I know they don't have a lot of episodes because like nowadays they don't get a lot of episodes to do it in these dramas, but a couple more episodes would have been effective because there's something extremely satisfying in watching Yui hurt that he didn't want her, or so she thought. There was something very, very satisfying about that. And there's also something very satisfying about Prince Eon defying the crown or whatever and proposing to her. But I wanted the proposal to be less about him bucking against the crown and more about him professing his undying love. And I do believe he loves her at this point and always probably has. What I needed was the proposal to, although it was public in front of, the revered guests, I wanted that proposal to be about just them. So after the proposal, everybody's taken aback, including Mama, who thought that, through earlier plotting and planning between episodes 4 and 6, she thought that it was going to be him walking away from her instead of him walking toward her, which is why his proposal still felt good, but it wasn't as satisfying as I wanted it to be. Let me tell you what, Byanosok in the golden era would have been melting panties. I have to be vulgar. I'm not really this vulgar in my typical conversations. It's just that I'm trying to paint a picture for these writers, directors, and producers so y'all can understand what the fuck we want. Byanosok, back in the golden era, man, his charisma and all that shit would have just been, oh God. Like, how do you quantify the way that male leads used to be back in the day? Now I'm finna go over in Thailand, and I know I got real dialectical there. Finna look. Okay, I'll stay on target, but I've got to create a series where I can talk about the golden era of dramas because I'm telling you, I know you haven't watched a lot of dramas that just make your insides melt because you can't find them. The Alexandria's library has been torched. It is a relic. But girl, Adaxarang is like Inspector Gadget. And when I want to watch it, I can find it. Yeah, somehow, some way. But look, now they are off the heels of the engagement. It's like, this was your mother's ring. Oh my God, thank you. I love it. And he's like, man, you're welcome. But she couldn't stand this ring. She never wore it, because it was heavy. And I was like, baby, do you understand that I want an uncomfortable, heavy ring? You sure do. So Young Suk is like, you're welcome. And she's like, thank you. And they're standing there. And remember, these dramas, they have to constantly play protraction with us, where it's like we get somewhere and then we have to bring it back. We have to bring the rom-com back. I'm sure that in episode 7 through ever, we're going to come back to the rom-com aspects. And I'm telling y'all right now, it takes us out of it. And at this point, I ain't going to say us. I got to speak for me. It takes me out of it. And let me tell you, whatever the fuck is being slipped inside of a drama via the comedy, the so-called comedy, whatever y'all trying to get off via this comedy, it would land better if you just be straight up about it. Fuck all this rom-com. But what I can say, and I've said it in earlier episodes, even on this YouTube channel, because in podcast land, y'all, I've said all this shit 1,000 times. But even in a rom-com, it's like if you could just grit your teeth past all the zaniness, they usually run out of it. I hope they've run out and we just get a drama from here on out. All that weird shit, because his assistant, his right-hand man is adorable, baby. Yes. And I want him to get her little Tom. If we was over in Thai, she'd be a perfect Tom, wouldn't she, y'all? And as cute and adorable as he is, I kind of look forward to her turning him down and saying, baby, are you paying any attention to me? You ain't paying no attention to me? Baby, you not my type. But if you was, I would say yeah. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, they have to go back to the comfort of the cat and mouse again, where it's like, some of the intrigue of the golden era was like, once the leads figured out we like each other, I like you, you like me, it was like they captured it. Once they captured the tension, which they never had to for me, but once the tension was established, we like each other, I like you, you like me, they held on to that tension. And then they added the other elements of the story. Now they do shit like, we gonna sleep together in one episode, then the next episode we gonna act like we virgins again, even though we married and we already have a child. It's like, huh? How you do that shit? So she's like, I forget what the light banter they're having betwixt each other right now. He's in his little baby. He looked like he in the Navy or something over there in Korea or something. He's got his official jacket on. And she's standing next to him and they just kind of having a me moment, and she's saying something and I can't remember if it's her or him, to be honest. Because at this point, by this time, y'all, we at the edge of episode 6. I'm so glad they finally given me a fucking drama that I can't remember who said it. But one of them said, you give it back after we divorce. So this is why I say that the proposal, I wish it had actually been at the peak of the desperate pursuit. Because what makes male leads attractive in dramas where there's contempt and where there's hatred to lovers to haters, haters to lovers, is that he has to beg at some point. Cause it's just like none of the other shit's working. And when nothing else works, what does work is begging.